Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is the first in a 5-part series of webinars about BNI Connect that we've put together to kind of step you through the entire system from a member level in order to really get started on the right foot in BNI Connect. So what we've done is we've broken it down into small 30-minute sections, so you're not sitting here for hours and hours and hours. And I hope you can join us for one or all of these over the course of the next week or two. So we're going to start that out today. I'm going to give you kind of an overview of what BNI Connect is all about. And we're going to talk about your profile today. So how to fill out your profile and why you want to fill out your profile. Now tomorrow we're going to go into the online referral process and show you how to go through and enter all your referrals and one-to-ones and things like that online. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about the connection process. How do we connect with other members? How do we dive deep into this giant system and find other BNI members around the world and connect with them? On Thursday, we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into BNI Connect. Let's look at some of the other things that are beyond the home page and look at some of the reports and other tools that are in the system. We're going to take a week off and then we're going to come back on Monday the 27th with inviting and registering visitors. Now, a couple of quick housekeeping things before we get started with today's content. As I mentioned earlier, this is a 30-minute webinar, so we try to keep the content right to the bottom of the hour, and just to make sure that if you've only set aside 30 minutes for today's lesson, that you are back to work, back to your appointments, back to returning phone calls and emails as close to the bottom of the hour as possible. That said, this is my job. This is what I do all day, every day. So if you have questions, I will open it up for questions, and I will stay here until every single question has been answered, whether that's another 5 minutes or whether it's another 45 minutes. You can ask me anything you want to about BNI Connect, and I will be happy to answer it. For those of you that are listening live today here on Monday, March 13th, please do use the questions panel. That's how to get the questions to me. I'll see them pop up on my screen and I can answer them as we're going along. However, if you're listening to a recording, because we do record every single one of these webinars, we make them available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, as well as on the support site, which you can access by clicking the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect. So, enough of that. Let's get started with today's content. So this is, I'm only going to show you a couple of slides of a PowerPoint. Then we're going to jump right into BNI Connect, and I'm going to show you stuff live in the system. And you're welcome to follow along at home if you'd like to do that as well. So just to give you an idea of the scope of BNI Connect, because BNI Connect actually is a huge program, very multifaceted. So really, BNI Connect is actually performing 3 distinct functions for the organization globally. So it's really, if you think about it, we're kind of like the QuickBooks. If anybody's ever used QuickBooks or other accounting software, that's what we are. We are the statistic keeper and stats keeper and information keeper for the entire organization. And right now, we are in 72 countries with over 1,000 regions or 1,000 areas that are serviced, 7,500 chapters, 1,200 forming chapters. That is just a lot of data. I mean, we're talking big data, plus we have the archives of over 30 years of BNI historical data. So we're keeping track of not just when people have joined and what their anniversary date is, when they're up for renewal, but also all those statistics. So when people are passing referrals and visitors and one-to-ones and all of that stuff, we are the management software for the entire organization. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is, if anybody's ever built their own website or you hire a company to build a website, a lot of those are done in what's called a CRM or a CMS system, a content management system, like WordPress is one example. Well, we're kind of a custom CMS or WordPress for every single one of these countries that are in BNI and every single region. And what that means is we're pushing out a lot of websites, and they're all connected to this internal database. So when you update your profile today, it's going to get pushed out to 3 public websites. So it's going to go out to BNIamerica.com if you're here in the United States, or if you're in another country, it'll go out to your country's national website. Your region of BNI also has a website. So I happen to be a member, by the way, here in Rhode Island. So our website is BNIRI.com. So we have a website there, and then your chapter has a website as well. So that's 3 public places. And by the way, Google is crawling these. We have a ton of SEO behind us that are really pushing results to all of these websites. So that's the 2 things there. The third thing is that we have our own private LinkedIn, so to speak. It's not LinkedIn, but it's very similar in functionality to LinkedIn in that you can find member profiles from around the world. So every single member in the entire BNI world you have access to through BNI Connect. Now that is pretty amazing. You can look people up in other countries and other cities and other states and other towns. Someday when we go intergalaxy, you may be able to look that up as well. So it is a huge program, as I said, and it is not a website. It is an online application. Break it down for you in numbers. It's got about almost 1,000 individual web pages within the software. That's not even counting all of those external websites. Got about 120 different reports. We've got 47 different languages that we translate everything into. We're actually just working on Hebrew right now. Got a dozen different programming languages and over 1 million lines of code. And really what makes me so excited about this is the fact that we are now one giant connected system. I'm a longtime BNI member, by the way. I am a current BNI member. I'm here in the Wakefield chapter in Rhode Island. We meet Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. But when I first joined BNI in 2002, we didn't have BNI Connect. My entire BNI world was just the 20 people that were in my chapter at that time. When I became a vice president, I went to my first regional training and met like 100 other BNI members from my area. And I said, wow, this BNI thing is a little bit bigger than I thought it was. The problem was if I didn't get their business card, I couldn't reconnect with them. We didn't have a BNI Connect. We didn't even have a website at that point. Fast forward, I became a director consultant. I met even more people from around the world in the same problem. It wasn't until 2011 when we got this system that we can now start to tap into it and really get to know our bigger network. So let's take a look at that. Now, in order to build what we call visibility and credibility in order to lead to profitability, we're going to provide you with that visibility here in BNI Connect because your profile is going to be available in a lot of places. However, you need to provide the credibility. In other words, you need to make yourself look good and make yourself somebody that people want to connect with. So let's take a look at how that works here in BNI Connect. So let me pull up, you log into BNI Connect, and this is the home screen in BNI Connect. This is kind of where all of the things happen. We're going to go into the online slips tomorrow, really dive deep into all these different functions that are here. But as I mentioned, your profile is available in a number of different places. So one of those places is going to be on BNIamerica.com and on your regional website. So if you're not sure what your regional website is, when you log into BNI Connect, click this regional website button up here in the upper right-hand corner. This is an actual public website that anybody in the world can get to. And if I go to find a member here, and I search for myself, Jeremy Walsh, this is my profile out here on the public website. Now, I'd like you to keep, this is a filled out profile. Now, I'm going to go to my test area in Antarctica, and I want to look at one of my members up here in Antarctica. So one of my test members up here is Art Garfunkel. So when I pull up Art Garfunkel's profile, Art Garfunkel unfortunately has never logged into BNI Connect and has never filled out his profile. So if you haven't filled out your profile yet, you look like this. Once you start filling out your profile, you will look like this. And again, it's this very same profile that will be on your chapter webpage as well as on your country's webpage. As I mentioned, you also are available in BNI Connect. Now, this is a private profile, and we share a little bit more information. But if I use this magnifying glass, this allows me to search for anybody in the world. So I could search for Jeremy Walsh, although you could search for a plumber in Pittsburgh or massage therapist in Maine or whatever you want to search for. So I have a test user in this system as well. So if I click on my Jeremy Walsh III here, who's up in Antarctica, you can see that this is what your profile looks like on the inside. And again, just nothing has been filled out. However, if I look at my profile for my own account, again, it has that video in it. It's got all my contact information. It's got all of my social media links. And then we're also sharing with other members in this closed network. We have our things like our weekly presentations where you can also put a video in. We have our gains profile, our tops profile. We can also see all of the people that we're connected with. So, you can go 10 levels deep if you want to in looking at people's connections. We also are sharing testimonials to other members here in BNI Connect. There's a photo library. You can see what groups people are participating in. And finally, the training history, which is a credibility builder. So let's take a look at how do you fill this stuff out. So let me close these tabs here and let me go back to the home screen. Now the place to go to fill out your profile is right here on the home screen. You can click this Update Profile My BNI page. Update Profile My BNI page, and that will take you to the place to go. Or if you're somewhere else in BNI Connect, you're lost in one of the other pages, just click on Options, My Account. No matter which one you click on, it will take you to the same place. All right, so once we're in here, there's no special magic to this. All you have to do is kind of go through each of these tabs, and where you see empty places, put something in there. That's the short version. But let me give you some kind of pointers on what to put where and some advice on how to make it possibly more effective. Okay? So this first tab here, this is your main profile. Now, there's not a whole lot that you can fill out on here. A lot of this is read-only information. For example, your name is going to be read-only because it has to match what's on the various paper applications. So to change that, usually you have to put in a request with your regional office. The same thing if you needed to change your company or if you needed to change your industry or classification. Now, there are a couple of fields that you could fill out here, the registered tax office and VAT reference number. Now, those things here in the United States, you'll notice that I've left those blank on mine. And those ones, they're really meant for some other countries. I know, for example, Australia, a lot of companies have to put in their VAT, which is value-added tax reference number, and same thing for their registered tax office in a lot of European countries. But again, if you don't know what those are, don't worry about it. But going down, you can see your classification, your chapter, when you're next up for renewal, what your status is. If online renewals are available in your area, you can always renew from here as well. Now, the next two things are the My Business and the keywords. Now, this is where you do want to spend a little bit of time. So the My Business, okay, so the My Business is, it's really, how do you explain your business to somebody that doesn't know what it is or what you do? And if you think about the BNI meeting, there's a part of the BNI meeting that really kind of fits in with this, and that's the open networking portion. So if you picture yourself at your meeting, at open networking, and a visitor comes in. And a visitor comes in, you're talking to that visitor, and you need to very quickly, in a couple of sentences, tell that person what it is that you do. Now, keep in mind, when people look at your profile online, nobody wants to read a 3-page dialogue on everything it is that you do. This isn't really meant to be an all-encompassing, sales brochure. It's meant to be a hook. It's meant to be, hey, this is what it is and what I do. And you'll notice that this is one of the few places that will accept things like HTML code. So you can see here This is where you can put a video on your profile. If you remember, my profile had a video. Now you can't upload the video here. What you would do is you upload your video to YouTube or Vimeo or any of those free places. They'll give you what's called an embed code, and that's what you would just copy and paste here, which is what I've done. Now I can show you that in more detail later. Just let me know if you're interested in that by popping it into the questions, and I can show you step by step exactly how to get that code from one of the other websites that are out there. The next most important thing on here is the keywords. And the keywords are ultimately important because that's how people find you if they don't know your name. Again, that is how they find you if they don't know your name, because we use BNI Connect a lot for kind of finding other people that can perform a service. I'll give you a quick example. My company here in Rhode Island, we do like managed services and things. Most of our clients are here in Rhode Island, but we have a couple of clients that might have offices in other states. And one of those clients, they have an office in their headquarters is here in Rhode Island. They have an office in Florida and an office in DC, and they were moving offices in Florida. So they needed our help to do that, and that's something we can't do over the internet. So we had a couple of choices. I fly one of my guys down there, and it's really expensive for the airfare and hotels and food and hourly rate and everything. Or what I did was I looked up, computer techs in Florida, narrowed it down to the town that this client was in, and made a couple of phone calls, and I was able to utilize another BNI member in order to refer those services, and they did the job for us. So there's lots of ways that we can use BNI Connect in order to connect with other people around the world. So the keywords help to facilitate that, and the keywords can be, if you think about it, we are a giant database. We don't quite have the same search algorithms, nor do we have the budget that a place like Google or Bing or Yahoo has. So we do have algorithms, but they're not quite as complex and good at guessing as some of the other big guys are. So what you need to keep in mind is that when you do a search in BNI Connect, you're searching against the words that are on somebody's profile in various places. So if I did a search for computer or computer services or Wakefield or my address or my name or things like that, it's going to find me. However, I'll give you an example. Because my industry and classification, my industry is computer. So if somebody did a search for computers, plural, it actually wouldn't find me because that's a different word. So I have to make sure that somewhere in my keywords I have the word computers. Same thing if your classification is accounting and somebody does a search for accountant. So you may want to make sure that you have accountant in your keywords. You can also use that for locations. If anybody knows anything about Rhode Island, you'll know that it is a very, 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 very small state, which means that a lot of us will do business in the neighboring states of Massachusetts and Connecticut. So I make sure that I have the abbreviations for Massachusetts and Connecticut in here as well. If you make any changes on here, please be sure to click on the update button. You'll see it flash saved real quick, and you can move on to the next tab. So the next tab is going to be your user profile. And again, only a couple of things on this page to work with, but some important ones. You can create your own username. It doesn't have to be your email address. It can be whatever you want it to be. So feel free to customize your username, also customize your password. The memorable question and answer, this is where if you need to reset your password, this is going to be that challenge question that we ask you. So do make sure that you have this filled out. Let me just show you in case you ever forget your password, or if somebody in your chapter is struggling with getting logged in, make sure that they go to BNIConnect.com. And right on the home page, it will say, I forgot my password. They just type in their email address and the CAPTCHA code here and click Find Me. Once it finds you, it will ask you your question. If you answer your question correctly, it will allow you to save a new password for your profile. The next thing you want to do is make sure you're in the right language. Certain things like dates and displays within the system are based on your language. So one common thing is if you happen to have a teal day there, that means you haven't selected a language. Make sure if you're here in the United States, you switch over to the English version of US, and also make sure your time zone is correct. So the next thing you definitely want to do is make sure that you have a logo and an image up there. I can't tell you how many times you go to a profile and they don't have their picture up there. So be sure that you upload a photo and a logo. To do that, you can click on Change Logo or Change Profile Picture. I can click on the little magnifying glass that will search my computer for a picture. Let's go take a look. Let's see if I can find one here. Let me get a new logo, and maybe I'm going to go with the white one this time. If I want to, I can crop that. Otherwise, I can just click Save, and it will save that image. And now I will have a new picture on my logo. All right, again, if you made changes up top, make sure you click that Update button, and we're going to move on. The next one is the contact details. Now, the contact details, the most important thing on this whole page, right up here at the top, it says Show Me on BNI public websites. Show me on BNI public websites. If this is unchecked, you will not be found on any of those 3 public sites. Let me just show you what I mean by that. I'm going to uncheck myself here and save this. All right. Now I'm going to go out to my regional website and I'm going to do a search for my name. Find a member, Jeremy Walsh. I am now invisible. Even if I go to my chapter, I go and I look at my chapter here, the Wakefield chapter. If I look at our listing of members in the chapter, I should be right here next to Jeremy von Flatern, and I am missing out of this list because I have made myself invisible. So, whereas you may need to do that if you are in certain industries that want you to be hidden. I know some financial advisors need to remove themselves. Most of the rest of us do want to be found out there on the internet, so be sure that this box is checked. The rest of this information is pretty straightforward. Bunch of phone numbers and email addresses and social media links. You can choose which one of those are shown on the public website by unchecking or checking those boxes. And I believe you can add up to 14 different social media links. So you can put up 3 LinkedIn profiles and 2 Facebooks and whatever else you'd like to put up there. Down at the bottom is where you edit your address. If you have a home-based business and you do not want your address out there online, please be sure to, on the primary address, go in and you can change this to by appointment only. You do want to make sure that you have something in your billing address, though, so that if the office needs to send you something like a Christmas card or an invoice or a receipt for an event or whatever it might be, that they have your actual address. All right. So the next tab is going to be your internal, your member-to-member settings. So the permissions, once people log into BNI Connect and they go to connect with you, for example. So all those tabs that are on your profile, the bio tab, the connections tab, the testimonials tab, the picture gallery tab, you can choose which of those you want to share with people. You can either share those tabs with everybody, so as soon as they come across their profile, they can see that information. You can choose to share those with just people after they've accepted a connection request. It is an opt-in to connect with somebody. And then finally, we have with nobody. So the options are all, my connections, or none. I highly recommend, again, BNI Connect is a closed system, only has access to other BNI members. I recommend you set almost all of these to all. The one exception to that is you may not want to share your email address with everybody right away, but especially your contact details, because if you're not sharing your contact details, then people can't get in touch with you, which the whole point of sharing these profiles is so that people can get in touch with you. The rest of these things at the bottom are all things that have to do with what notifications are sent to you. So the BNI discussion groups, if you want to be notified of posts of groups that you're participating in. And then these are for the social media emails. If you want to receive a copy of BNI Connect messages, a copy of messages you send, connection requests, and testimonial requests. All right, and the next tab is the Bio tab. Now, this one is the one that's going to take you a little while because there's just a lot of stuff to type out on this page. So, if you have limited time to do this, do all of the other stuff and then come back and do this one in pieces. But it's all pretty straightforward stuff, and hopefully you know most of this stuff just right offhand as you're filling it in. Oh, matter of fact, I need to update that to 15. So the bio, this is the same bio that you would be passed and asked to fill out before your first 10-minute presentation at your chapter, but you can fill it out in BNI Connect. So years in business, types of jobs, city of residence, and some other information here about your family. Something no one knows about you, key to success. So you can fill all those out. You can also put in weekly presentations. Now, why would you bother putting in a weekly presentation? Well, one of the reasons for that is there's 210,000 members in BNI. And we're hoping to be 500,000 members in the next 5 years. So I can guarantee you that probably out of the 210,000, 209,920 of them will never be at one of your chapter meetings. So that means they'll never get a chance to listen to you give a weekly presentation. Here's your opportunity to share those through your profile. You can either take a video, record yourself giving a presentation, or you can type it out. It's a great one to also have just kind of in the bag, so to speak. If you have a substitute at some point, you can always go in and have one ready to go. The Gains profile, if you've been to the Member Success Program, you'll know all about what the Gains profile is. If not, make sure that you sign up for a Member Success Program just as quickly as possible. And this is goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. It's a great thing to do before a one-to-one meeting is to share your Gains profile with the person you're meeting with, and also to look at the Gains profile of the person you're meeting with, because this can help to turbocharge that meeting. Finally, we have the tops profile, which is some of your, your ideals and tops and great things. Ideal referral, top product, problem, favorite BNI story, and ideal referral partner. Now, if you have limited time, as I said before, the most important one to fill out on here, if you can only do one at a time, is to make sure you fill out this tops profile. And the reason for that is that this is the only one that appears out on the public website. So again, Google, Bing, Yahoo, all those places are, gathering the information from those sites. So if you have a chance, please make sure that you use that profile. Now, the last two tabs here, if you happen to be a director consultant, you'll have information here, and then also your training history. Now, the training history is automatically updated by your region as you attend things like Member Success Program, but if you see something missing there, just be sure to let your regional office know, and they can update that for you. And that, my friends, brings us to the bottom of the hour. So what I would like to say is, anybody that needs to leave right away. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me. As I said, I do want to be respectful of your time and make sure that we end with the content portion. That said, if you have questions, now is the time to ask them. I love questions, and I'll stay here until every single question has been answered. So again, questions, comments, compliments, confusions, enter those into the questions channel, and I will be happy to answer those now. All right, while you're thinking of any questions, quick note that a good referral for me is to let people know about these webinars. If you found this format helpful or you learned something new today, I would love to see you on the next webinar, which is going to be tomorrow. We're going to talk about really all the stuff on the home page here. So how to submit your referrals, how to review your referrals, and things like that. Oh, here we go. We have some questions coming through. So Michael says, as a new member, I see my training appears automatically under the training tab, right? Yes, absolutely. So after you've taken your member success program, for example, your trainer will mark you as having attended, and at that point, it will automatically appear on your profile. You do have to submit your own CEU slip if you're using CEU slips in your area. Once you've also taken the member success program, your ribbon will automatically appear on your profile. All right, hopefully that answers your question, Michael. Brian said, how about creating links to my website? And are those allowed? And would you do that like your social media links? So there's a couple of different places. I'm going to go back to my profile here. So if I go to this contact tab, there's two things. There's your company website that you can put here under the traditional website. And then these links can be any other websites you want to be. So most people are going to use that for things like Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that. So what you want to do is, you go to facebook.com and go to your page on Facebook. So go to your profile page and you just copy it. And you can then, add a link that's not being used. So let's see, add link 2, because you can, that's what controls the order. And then you can paste it in there. Now it doesn't have to be, again, Facebook. If you want to put in your company website or, things like that, you can do that as well. So whatever you'd like to put into these, they do have to be a URL though. Does that help, Brian? Awesome. Debbie says, great info, and thank you so much for being here, Debbie, and you're very welcome. All right, so Lisa says, how did you put that video in the business section? Sure, let's take a look at that real quick. So the first thing you do have to do is you have to, we simply don't have the capacity to host, 200,000 or 500,000 members worth of videos. But there are free sites on the internet that do that, such as YouTube. So you can create a free YouTube account or Vimeo or anything like that, and you upload the video there. Once you do that, so for example, I'm going to go to my BNI Connect, my youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. This is our BNI Connect channel. And I have all these different videos up here. So let's say, this particular, it doesn't matter what video it is, you just go to the video. And when you get to the video, you'll see a button here that says share. Now you don't want to take this. This is just, this is just a URL link. That's not going to put the video into your profile. If you want to actually put the video into your profile, you need the second one here. It says embed. And all you have to do, you don't have to know what the code is or what it does or why it works. You just have to copy it and paste it into your profile. That's it. There's only two places where you're allowed to put the HTML code like that. One is My Business. The second one is under the commercials under the Bio tab. So under weekly presentations, you can also put that type of embed code. It does have to have at least like one word of actual text in there. Otherwise it's thinking you're trying to hack the system. So you'll notice that on my profile, I put in, why BNI Connect, and then I put in that iframe code. All right, so does that help, Lisa? And I think Karen, you had a similar comment about that. So Debbie says, how many CEUs for these webinars? You want to make sure you give yourself one CEU. So on the CEU slip, so let's say I'm going to submit my CEU for today. This would be under 5 podcasts / BNI webinar. And I'm going to give myself 1 credit for this and click submit. All right, Debbie. Awesome. And Michael, yes. All right, Lisa says, very helpful. Thank you very much. And you are so, so very welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here today. And again, I am recording this, and I will put this up on the support site as soon as possible. You'll find it by clicking on the question mark here in BNI Connect or going to our YouTube channel. But click on this question mark. That will take you to our support page. You'll see tons of stuff up here, documentation and guides and walkthroughs. But right here, live and recorded webinars. A good referral for me is if you can share this link with other people in your chapter or other people in your region. We have this whole series. Just share this with them so that we have more people registered for each of these webinars. Again, tomorrow we're going to talk about the referral process. So Lisa, as far as credit goes, make sure that you give yourself the CEU credit. Typically, this one doesn't show up under the training tab because we're actually running this through, GoToWebinar, so it doesn't link in and do that. If you would like me to add it to your profile, I can do that. What I need you to do is to submit a support ticket for that. So if you just come here to the question mark in BNI Connect, up at the top you should see a thing that says submit a request, and that will submit a support ticket. And one of us here at support can add that for you. All right, Karen says super helpful and concise. Again, thank you so much, Karen. And also thank you for sharing it. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. In the meantime, happy connecting.